I mean, considering that it's just like playing along to drumless tracks, I'm surprised it got any comments at all. So I'll take it. Tracks, I'm surprised it got any comments at all.
That's awesome, man.
Very cool. What do we got here? All right, so welcome everyone. T-shirts are live. We got so it's kind of confusing on Teespring. Everything is like they make you do, like when I upload one design, it's like I have to upload everything. So like T-shirts, sweatshirts, baby shirts, women's shirts, long sleeve shirts, like everything is in there. So you kind of have to sift through. But basically, it's the big like front logo, either like on dark shirts or light shirts, and then there's the small logo on the front and then a big logo on the back. And so it's, yeah, those are like the 4 options of dark shirts. There's a different logo for dark shirts versus light shirts, all that stuff. So yeah, and then if you join Chops and Coffee, you guys can get a discount code. So those of you guys streaming with us, and the discount code is in the chat. Yeah, finally we got at least one design of Chops and Coffee merch, so that's good. And then other than that, we can get started. So okay, so I got a few new ones that we haven't done before, and then one of them is like in vein with what we were talking about on Monday. So I'm gonna need some help on that from you guys. But to start us, let's do one that we have done before. So let's do a different version of 8 and 8 equals 16. What I call it. So 8 on your right, 8 on your left, 8 eighth notes that is, and then 16 notes. One measure each. But this time, instead of doing just 8th note on your hands, let's actually do 16th notes between your hands and feet. So your hands will still be doing 8th notes. So it'll be like in between each stroke. Then left. Then 16ths. We'll still be doing 8th notes on our hands though, so. Then 8th on your right. 8th on your left. All right, everybody got it? Everybody can do that? It's a good way to get your hands. And you can also like keep quarter notes if you want on your left. It's a little bit difficult for me, so I'm just gonna stick with my right hand or hands and feet. So that's our hand pattern. So oops. All right, let's do it 2 minutes, and then we'll pick up the pace. Here we go. Try to pace yourself. 2 minutes is a long time. 1, 2, ready, go. halfway there. Seconds. Last one. Hey, all right. Oh, man. That's got me waking up here.
I like the 2-minute stretches.
Yeah, I like it better. We were doing 1 minute before, and 2 minutes gets you there, I think. It gets your blood flowing and gets you. I feel like we could do even like more, like 2.5 or 3, but
Corey, do you have advice for not letting your bass drum foot rush? Because I find that I go doom da doom da doom da, and it starts to go into like a shuffle kind of thing, and I don't know if that's just my lack of experience or.
I always use this thing, this exercise, but maybe at a slower tempo, but also doing some simpler stuff. Adam, you can chime in also with this, but like playing your kick drum in unison with like 16 notes, or play like you know the permutation that we do with the accent. So like this, then
right,
like doing those permutations with your kick drum. You know, that might work, but making sure they're in unison with your hands and with the click.
Gotcha.
That would be my advice. Adam, what do you got?
Bass drum technique, essentially. How did you learn your bass drum technique?
By sitting down and putting my foot on the pedal. I mean, I guess I play heel up primarily. But I guess my problem is when I'm going and I'm really getting in a rhythm with my bass drum, I find that my ability to rest my foot on the pedal without engaging the beater when I'm really moving quickly or trying to be precise with my kick drum, that I have a tendency to rush and let it fall down. And I don't know if that's just a matter of building the muscle up and getting more response out of my foot, or if my pedal is too tight. I'd say like my kick drum is probably like the weakest aspect of my like consistent technique.
Yeah. Well, it's the most kind of contrived way of playing the drums, this whole mechanism designed to, push the board down, make the beater go forward. And so any way that you can let your heel rest between beats of the if this is the, let's see how, shit, maybe I could. Any way that you can, like, if you can drop the heel and have the moment that the heel hits the pedal be the moment that the beater hits the head, and then be able to rest between that. Does that make sense? So yeah, like try this. Okay, so let's imagine this is the beater and this is your foot, and try creeping your foot up the pedal and keep going until the beater touches the head. Like keep like a half an inch of air beneath your heel and creep the foot up, like just a little bit of air beneath the heel. And then at that moment when the beater touches the head, that should be a point where you're able to kind of drop the heel and have the beater hit the head simultaneously. So every beat you hit, essentially, you're getting to relax, and that any kind of relaxation is going to help you with your tempo. But
yeah, it is. I was gonna say
Got
that
it.
too, like where your position is on your pedal could be part of it too, on why you're rushing a little bit or not. That makes a big difference. A lot of people, a lot of newer drummers, like I have so many. I had a student yesterday that was like ready to quit drums because she was so frustrated with her foot, but like her foot was like all the way to the chain, you know, like, and I was like,
Right.
move your foot back. Like it's okay to be in the middle of the pedal, you know, where the arch or where the ball of your foot is, and that'll help your help you land, like Adam was saying, you know, on the beater landing on the head in a different, like in a like later or sooner, or you know what I mean. Trying to explain,
Gotcha.
trying to explain it is so hard.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
It's such a contrived. Go ahead, Dale.
Jojo Omer has an amazing, like he has a whole series just for hands, and then he came out with one for the bass pedal. It has the history of the bass pedal, the mechanics, how to adjust, everything like that. It's kind of some of what Adam's talking about. And then, yeah, I was kind of wondering how you're balanced, like just sitting to like, I know sometimes you're like falling all over the place. You're going to be hitting. You should just be able to, you know, sit back. Like it all goes back to Adam's balance and everything, right?
Yeah.
right. There's definitely a posture aspect of it that like if I'm trying to go between my left and right foot and trying to do like a complicated ostinato, I do kind of feel myself wiggling around when I'm trying to put, you know,
You might
distinct
want to
rhythms on.
height a bit or something. Yeah.
Do you guys generally adjust the snare first or the seat first? When you're first sitting down, you say, okay, I'm at a kit. Do you adjust the snare to match your your seat, or do you start with the seat and then adjust everything else around that?
For me, I've been playing long enough where I can look at it and be like, that's right or not. But
Right.
I normally,
That's
it starts with the seat for me because I sit really high. And
Gotcha.
and so, but I mean, I even just sitting behind the drums, I'm like, this isn't right, and I know like I have to raise this and lower that, and you know, move this closer or whatever. But it starts with the seat for me. If I'm not comfortable on my seat, then there's a problem, you know.
Gotcha. Thanks, fellas.
Yeah, a good thing for snare height is to play a cross stick and make sure that your left shoulder doesn't drop. So whatever height you play a cross stick, just make sure you're not like dropping. That it's like whatever height you can do that comfortably and still stay centered is good. Yeah.
I think I'm well, I did just lower my snare.
I find I'm all over the place a little bit. Like some days I like stuff here, and then some days I like way over there. Like it's not that expensive. I've been really paying attention to my throne height. I don't know, just to see how it is different. Like I would go all the way to the bottom just to see what's going on, and then Ringo Starr height. But yeah, in that Jojo Omer thing, he actually uses the sticks. Like if this is your thigh and this is your calf, he kind of explains. He sits almost like this. He starts talking about molar technique and everything with his feet. But I mean, you look at Dave Lombardo from Slayer. He's like Mr. Double Bass. He likes to sit low. Like he
I can't handle that.
And he just uses his toes. I heard Benny Greb was saying like use this simple to keep it simple. Hang your toe. Boom, boom, boom. If you want a double stroke, you drop your knee. So boom, 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 kind of deal. But it probably comes down to preference after a while.
Yeah, kick drum like bass drum technique is everybody has like such different opinions on how it should be, or different. No, I shouldn't say opinions, but different techniques. Like the heel down, toe up, like kind of pop thing that a lot of punk drummers do. That just doesn't work for me.
Swivel, there's a
swivel thing. Yeah. that's more, that works a little bit for me, but like I like just like kind of this kind of thing, like where your foot is just, you're just pushing it down, and like my heel is like kind of always up. But a lot of my technique is a result of my injury that I've had, so I've kind of had to adapt to. My foot was way faster before all of this nonsense, so yeah. But
And any time away from the drums, it's like practicing toe and then heel. Like just, I mean, like any of these exercises that we're doing at a pad, like if you're gonna play bass drum, try part with the heel, like just keeping the toe on the ground and the other one keeping the heel on the ground. So I think being able to do both of those on the ground is gonna better inform how you approach your bass drum pedal on the drum set.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Any of these would be good for like all those techniques. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great idea. All right, cool.
Awesome. Thank you very much, fellas.
Yeah, cool.
Of course. Let's go a little bit faster. Let's go at 90. All right, here we go. Remember to breathe. 1, 2, ready, go. Halfway. Last one. Hooray. All right.
It's so funny. Every time we finish an exercise, like we all like just do like a little like fill, like a little riff, and I just think about Rich talking about talking about playing something that you do know that makes you feel good after you're working on something that you're not as good at. I always just think of that.
I've been talking about that a lot, man. It's funny. Like I've been talking to all of my students about that, and like it's so funny though how we do that. Like it's like it boosts our endorphins or something, like to play something that we know how to do or whatever,
I'd like to think of it as orienting. Like you go from something you're uncomfortable with to something you're comfortable with, and if you can get them to feel the same, then that means whatever you were uncomfortable with is getting better, or like the more you can like feel the same, it's good.
Yeah, that's good. What is everybody's what is your go-to? Like when I'm struggling with something, I'm always like, and then I normally like do like a 5-stroke thing, and I'm like, and like I've been like, even on the live stream, I've done some like practices live, and then some people have noticed that. They're like, oh, it's funny you do a 5-stroke thing like in between, like when you get frustrated. I do that too, like it's like, I think it's funny. What's your go-to move or lick or whatever?
I've got a 6-stroke Tom Phil that I've spent a ton of time working on, and so like anytime I'm like go back to that,
Yeah.
it's Dave Johnstone's like favorite Phil, and so like he was one of the first things that I like learned from him, and so
Nice.
like
What is it? A 6-note roll or a? What is it?
it's right on the tom, then left, right, left.
Oh yeah.
Like the Motown Phil.
Yeah.
It's the Motown Phil, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine's the. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, mine's the same as yours.
Yeah.
Like I play, it's like, okay, I'm still a drummer. My hands still work. I can do an accent and I can do doubles. I'm trying to get it to be unisons. I'm trying to get, I'm trying to make it this. Like it's this Gruber technique where you like kind of pull and lift, but being able to do it alternate. So I'm trying to get myself to be able to have this be my go-to.
That's a good one. The pull and lift thing. I always like I'm okay with my right, but not really with my left. And that's,
really exaggerate it and do it slow, and it's a really cool feeling. It relaxes your touch a lot. So try to like lift way up, like even above your head, and so then come down and come back to here.
Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah, like let it come all the way back, like boom.
There we go.
Yeah, and then come up and up. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, let the rebound come all the way back to you. Yeah. There it is. And then down.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that's really weird.
And it's such a finesse stroke. Like, I mean, you can get a lot of power out of it and like really not exert much energy. And it's hard to make it a unison. Yeah. That's it.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Yeah, just you let it like come almost like pointing back at you, like that, and then instead of worrying like the Brazilian thing, don't worry about the speed of it. Like just try to get the big exaggerated stroke out of it. Yep, and then and straight from here down and up. So once you're here, it's down and like start coming up already.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. So I can already feel that helping my left, because my left has never been all these exercises between you and Rich, it's like it's got me rethinking a lot of things, man. It's really cool. I started the foundational book yesterday, and took some time. It's funny though, when you do those long extended exercises, I started feeling some like pain in my back. I started feeling, when you're just like focused and like I was watching a video that I was on a gig and I was really like hunched over. Like I'm like, no wonder my back always hurts, So
yeah, Ari's really struggling with that. And like, I don't know, I hope you can, I don't know, do you get to a certain point, something's gotten you a certain, so far, and you think that's like your thing, and it's hard to let go of that. And like so many, especially jazz drummers, like this thing, it's like, oh God, it's like,
it's for me, it's my lower, like the middle of my back, and I always relate it to kick drum. Like I almost always want to put a mic on my kick, so I'm not laying into my kick drum so much, and I can hear it. And like, if I don't, it just kills my back, man. It just like.
Do you bury the beater?
Yeah.
That's. If you're willing to try to not do that, that could really help. Because if your heel's up in the air at the moment of impact, you're absorbing that tension all the way up your body. So that's that idea of like having the heel hit the floor at the same time the beater is hitting the head. If you can kind of like just keep the ball of the foot on the pedal, lift the heel up, drop the heel, and when the heel hits the pedal, the beater hits the head and comes off. That's the same thing as like this kind of stroke, rather than like rather than absorbing all that shock, you can kind of drop the heel.
Yeah, that might be better.
Yeah, try have the heel on the floor, and have the beater off the head, and like lift the heel up in the air without moving the beater, and then drop the heel and see if you can get the beater to hit the head the second the heel hits the pedal.
That's really cool. I'm trying it right now. That's all.
Man, yeah,
There's so much power doing that too. It's almost like heel down with power.
Yeah, it's Moeller bass drum technique, and so it gives you that kind of medium between the finesse of heel down and the power of heel up. And it lets you rest in between the beat. It definitely relaxes a lot of tension on the back, because like if you're digging the beater into the head with your heel up, then you're absorbing the shock of the bass drum hit. And so you can play a lot louder without feeling that, pushback.
It's a little bit difficult for me. I don't have a lot of that flexibility anymore in my kit.
So you mean this way?
Yeah. Well, I have some, but it's not as flexible. Like it's probably like 70%. I have 12 screws and a plate in my heel. So, and it's like every time my heel hits the ground, it's like all the way up my body. Feels really weird, but yeah, I have to work on that. I can probably do it with like shoes on.
Oh, you normally play in socks?
No, I normally play with shoes on, but in the mornings here, I always just kick off my shoes and. Yeah.
Shoot! Wow. So the heel hitting the floor is the issue for you.
Yeah, that's where all the metal is in my injury. So it's just at this point it's like just a mental thing, I think, though. Like it doesn't actually hurt, but it just feels a little weird, and that's like the sensitive. Remember how we were talking about like the most sensitive part in your body, like when you have a freak out, like fight or flight reaction, and then that's where the pain goes. That's the spot, for me. So
yeah, because I've been videoing my feet a lot, and I'm trying to reduce that amount that I lift the heel and still get a full impact on the bass drum. I'm trying to get it so that my foot's on the pedal and I lift it up just maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches, and try to drop the whole weight of my leg to get that beat. And then there are ways to try to get the double, to try to finesse another stroke out of it that way. So it's kind of like drop, tap, lift, drop, tap, lift, and that's kind of the double version of that. Shit, I wish I could have put a cam on my foot right now. Oh my God, you know what? I think I can. Can I try this? Yeah. I won't take up too much time. Let's see. Oh shit, I'd have to blow that idea. My cam won't reach. All right, how about
Friday?
Friday, yeah, bass drum technique Friday. I love it.
I think you've honestly helped me here, Adam. There's a big here. Okay, so I've always struggled with if you're doing your bass drum, like what's that? I want.
Yeah.
To get the same power, it's always like I can never hear. I only hear the second hit.
Yeah, it's like one is accented and one isn't.
Yeah, and really big pain in my butt lately, and I think that just solved it.
Yeah, working on that, it makes a huge difference when you can start getting multiple strokes out of one motion with the leg. That's why it's Moeller bass drum. It's the same principle as Moeller hands. So. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, let's do bass drum stuff Friday.
That sounds cool. Yeah, maybe we can do like some maybe we can do that accent permutation with our kick on Friday. That yeah, yeah.
Are you able
that would kick my ass for sure.
Are you able to play the recorded drums through the Zoom, Corey?
Yeah.
Your mic?
What about now?
Oh,
I
I
have
just
pads on.
right. If you were to take the pads off, would you be able to send the drum mics through Zoom?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. How?
Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, they'll come through.
So all the drum mics are going into your PreSonus,
Yeah.
and then the PreSonus is going into
My computer. It's a
So-
it's a USB
you.
interface.
Okay, so you just select the PreSonus as the microphone.
Yeah, in Zoom it automatically does it. It just yeah, it's the microphone. Yeah, exactly. Or your like audio device, your external audio device. So it comes through like that.
And then it's also the speaker then. Speaker is PreSonus also. Okay.
Yes, it's feeding into there, and then that's why I wear my in-ears. So I can change that on my computer to where the output audio is just the computer, but the input audio is my PreSonus. But yeah, it's all in your MIDI settings on your computer if you're using a Mac. It looks like the icon looks like it's audio MIDI setup, and then you just choose like whatever interface or whatever mixer you're using, and you can adjust that to input, use this device for input, use this device for output. So that's what I have right now. And then yeah, so everything that goes into the interface is going back into the computer. Everything that's coming out of the computer is going through the interface to me. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's do one more of these, and then we'll do the second one later. So this one's we're gonna do the well, we can do either one. This one though, I need some help on how to set the metronome. I think we did eighth notes, but this one's pretty hard to work all the way through for me anyways. So I thought we could do this one. This is kind of staying in the same vein since we're doing 8/8 on each hand. So it's eighth notes. Yeah, eighth notes, and you guys got it. Eighth notes with an accent. Then like I call it cheesy bread, but 16th note, eighth note. So then like a 7-stroke roll, and then so it keeps your eighth notes kind of happening the whole time. It's a pretty fun one, and then it switches. So then, but see, like this is where it's good. This is so marching band stuff, you know, where they do one double stroke on your right, and then you switch to your left when it switches. So. Oops. All right, this one's a little bit challenging for me. I haven't worked really all the way through this, but all right, so you guys down to try it with repeat, and then we'll just end on I don't know if we see, yeah, this okay, so we'll just do the repeat as written. Good hand warm up. There we go. So yeah, all right. Okay, cool. That's funny. These things keep happening. Like Brennan just said, hey, sorry, I had to jump off my back and my neck is killing me. I'm like, you jumped off right before we just started talking about this. All right. Let's get it. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Ah. 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 Last one. Hey. It's a little weird turnaround because you're only, as written, I think you're only supposed to repeat once, and then end on that one. But then I think they just count you back in. So, but we're continuously repeating. So when you're doing that, the left-handed lead on this one, it's kind of hard to turn around back to the right-handed eighth notes. You know what I mean? You're doing like 3. You're doing a roll here. Yeah, you know what I mean. And then this one for me is hard because I keep wanting to accent both of these eighth notes. So I want to do, So all right, let's go a little bit. Let's try it a little bit faster. And let's try it one more time, and that'll be it. All right, ready? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, hey. Gosh. Yeah. Last one. Oh my gosh. I was getting a little sloppy there for me.
For me, at that tempo, the hardest one was the third one.
Yeah, me too.
Because I can get into the wrong, but having to hit that single in between the two was getting me.
Yeah, I keep wanting to play all the accents. That's the hardest one for me. And then yeah.
I always wanted to accent that left and the 6.
Yes.
Hard not to accent that left.
Yeah, I keep wanting to do that. Yeah.
So what I was trying to do, I was looking at my hand. I was trying to kick that push and pull motion.
Oh, good idea.
With the right throughout every single one.
Yeah.
So
that's good. Yeah. This is a great exercise for that push and pull thing. That's cool. I need to work on that one more though to get it like to where I don't have to look at it, you know. We'll try to visit this next one on another day, but this one's pretty fun. It's in 7, so it goes along. I pulled this one because we were talking about on Monday, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then, so I have to like, it's hard for me to read it all the way through. And then, yeah, that one's pretty hard.
Yep. Whoa, double cheesing in 7. Okay, yep, that's tricky.
Yeah. You know, once we got that, I always call it the Natify thing, you know, that Nat helped us to do this to like basic, you know, 8th note rhythms or whatever, to cheese it and all that stuff. But anyways, once I figured this first part out, I was like, the way that it's divided up, like subdivided up to like, just like, you know, it's easy for a guy like me who's really green on odd times. It's really, sorry, I'm letting Sam back in. Somebody that's really green on odd time stuff and is like trying to work on that, dividing it like this 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 is like really, that helps me a lot. Yeah. So and then it makes it easier if it's the same pattern with, you know, with all those flams and diddles and yeah. All right, so we'll pick up on that later. Dude, I spent a good I spent a good 30 minutes, maybe more, after my lessons yesterday, like going from 16th notes to 5s to 16th note triplets, then back to 5s, then, well, I guess they're not called 5s. What are they called? Quintuplets?
Quintuplets.
Quintuplets. See, this is how green I am. But yeah, it was really cool. And I worked on 7s for a while, but it's man, trying to walk before I can run, you know. But it's been one of my, I've talked about it before. It's been one of the things that I've wanted so bad, you know, is the rhythmic scale, including odd times or odd, you know, groupings. Instead of, Daryl, you were talking about it on Monday. Going all the way to 12s and all of that stuff is like.
I'll post that in the I have a PDF of it. It explains how to count some of them too. Like, I don't know. There's probably different ways to count it, but it just kind of breaks it down. Certain ones to break, like 9s, triplet, triplet. But then eventually you're just supposed to do no accents and just feel it, right? You just know it.
Is that out of Joe Morello's master set?
Joe Morello. Yeah.
Oh, such a great book, man. I've put a lot of time into that book.
I always talk about Cliff Allman doing soloing on that exact thing. And so he's doing different, he's just doing the different orchestrations and I think different like stickings on, but he's building a solo based on that. And I don't know if it's 1 measure each or if it's 4 measures each, but it's like, that blew my mind. Like I couldn't even comprehend it when I was like in high school, where I was just like, what? And I was like, I want to do that, maybe I was like maybe years later, but, and so I always thought, okay, just the rhythmic scale, like quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, or putting triplets in if you want,
There's the hardest one on that whole thing was quarter note triplets.
Oh yeah.
Just so I don't know, it was weird. And then I saw a YouTube video where the guy says, "Okay, stop struggling with quarter note triplets. Put on the Doors. Put it, Love Me 2 times." Ba, 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 love me 2 times.
Yeah. That's it.
That's the way I always think about it now.
That's it. Yeah. I would always do that wrong. I would always go, and then I would go back and be like, that's not it. And that's how I was feeling it in my head, But yeah. I would always rush the last one. I felt so embarrassed one time. Somebody at NAMM came up to me and was like, it was like a guy from like Mexico City or something. And he's like, "Mr. Corey, hey." He's like, "Can you say something?" Like I like, he was like a fan of my bands or whatever. Am I frozen or are you guys frozen?
No, you're up.
Okay. And he was like, "Can you give us some like, like drum lesson advice, like a quick drum lesson?" So I was like, yeah. And so I was like, practice the rhythmic scale. And then I did that. I was like, quarter note triplets, eighth note triplets, and then all the way up to 32nd notes. And then I played it, but then when I played the quarter note triplets, I did it wrong. And I was like, "Hey man, can I redo that video?" Like he like had me redo the video, and just like he kept the like me talking about it, and then I got to play it and send it to him. So I was like, thank goodness I didn't put that out over the interwebs. So yeah. Man, it seems like everyone's having internet connection problems today.
I've been all
literally like the mid-sentence.
No sooner said. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I like what you said about rhythmic scale, because I've been thinking a lot about rhythmic intervals. Like, the same way we think of major third, minor third, how many half steps are in between. It's like that, just thinking of these groupings that way. So yeah.
I like to put like different notation groupings too. Like we just saw like the 2 16th notes and an eighth note. Like when I'm showing like a young kid, like, hey, here's different rhythms. And then we assign pizza toppings to all of those. so like 2 16th notes and a eighth note is cheesy bread. I know that's not a topping, but then like an eighth note, 2 16th notes is anchovy. We have what is it? Like 2 16th notes and then another 16th note. So like a dotted 16th and then a 6, whatever. Yeah. But, so we call that onions, no onions, no onions, no onions, no. All these kids have like made up all these different sayings to like use the syllables to remember their notation, it's really cool. So it's become a thing, and it's become like a real thing with Drum Brigade, with using the drumsticks and like the color coordination with the drumsticks and then pizza toppings. But I'm like, but if you guys like start getting in a band and you start, or you need to really read sheet music, if you're in jazz band at school, you can't be like, hey, on measure 42, the cheesy bread right there, you're not playing it right.
Writing.
I'm like, you got to really learn how to count. You can't like use that in. This is just in Drum Brigade, So
yeah.
Excuse me, Maestro. Do you want pepperoni here or cheesy bread? Bread.
No onions.
Exactly. And when I start going, hey, like, so we count 1 E and a 2 E and a 3, they're like looking at me like, what is he talking about? I'm like, pepperoni.
Pepperoni. Oh man, that's awesome. What's yeah, there's man, that should be for the rhythmic intervals. I should figure out that what the
To be
five.
fair, I had a band director.
You're breaking up. We can't hear you. Oh man.
Swing time as cheese, Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, what was it?
Is that me?
Yeah.
Hold up. Am I here? Shoot. Am I here or am I gone?
Zoom is cutting us off at 8 o'clock.
I know, right?
Zoom is folding.
Oh, I just did the 5-stroke roll, my comfort zone.
I love it. I love it.
I remember there was a friend of mine that told me, man, I love Pat Metheny, but there's that lick that he does. He should just remove that. Like, everything else he does is great. That one thing he does in every solo, he should just not play that. It made me think, man, I wonder what I should just not play, you know, that I do all the time.
I feel that same way about Jonathan Kreisberg. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, yeah. Guitar player, yeah.
Great. And but he has some licks that are like in every song, you know. It's like, but I love him. But you know, it's like, there it is. Or is it Bob Berg, the sax player that has that na-na-na-na-na-na. Like he always ends on that like.
Yeah, there's one there's that lick on a dominant chord that everybody plays.
Yeah.
But it outlines the chord so well, and like, oh god. Oh, well.
All right,
it's part of the zeitgeist.
Yeah,
the musical zeitgeist.
Sam, do you play that lick on a dominant chord?
If they pay me enough, sure.
Love it.
Is that a like cold or what? Is there it attributed to somebody?
I think it's one of those things like the 2/5 line that is just so ubiquitous that the first guy that played it is lost to the annals of history.
Yeah.
It's like Happy Birthday or something where it's like
sure
everybody uses it so much that it's like hard to trace where it came from, you know?
Right. It's become its own entity. It exists outside of the space of an individual.
I was just listening to a podcast about that song specifically, that like there was a company that like I don't know if they decided, but there were some two old ladies like way like in the 1800s created this song for like children. And then this company, like they gave the rights to this like charity or something like that, or to this nonprofit. And then that nonprofit has like gone after everyone who sings it, like on TV, on radio, like anything. And then even if you're like in a restaurant, they've like gone into like, hey, you're like, it's crazy. It's called the podcast is called Between the Liner Notes. I don't know if you guys have listened to that. It's really good. It's a really great,
I think I've heard of it.
It's such a great podcast, man. But that one it's one of the earlier episodes, and it's really interesting.
Isn't Happy Birthday one of the ones that was in Michael Jackson's humongous library that got bought?
Really?
For some reason, I thought that Michael owned Happy Birthday at the end. Or maybe I'm just thinking of like the whole Beatles discography that he had. Yeah, he had something that was just that you know everyone played, and he like was able to make like a ton of money by getting royalties on it. And I can't remember what it was. For some reason, I thought it was Happy Birthday. I may be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what other song there is that's like that. You know, noteworthy.
Some Christmas songs, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Like, yeah.
Holiday shit.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys. So, yeah, this was cool. Smaller group today. I like it. Anybody streaming with us, thank you guys for streaming with us. And we'll be back on Friday doing some kick drum things.
Yeah.
There we go.
I have a few sheets, but if you have anything to any of you guys, please share it, and then I'll look it over and try to bring it on Friday. So mine are pretty. We've done a lot of them though. Just these kind of things, the moving the kick drum over, permutation thing. I have a couple other written out ones, but yeah.
Can you post that 7 flam cheese exercise in the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a Zildjian one too, but I'll post it. So and all of that stuff anything that I use on here, either I've written myself or because they're streaming, I don't like want to steal from other people, but it's stuff that they post online for free. So
it's on the Zildjian site. Oh, okay.
it's on the Zildjian site. It's Carol. It's the blonde hair lady. It's on the level 1 warm ups. And
that's a level 1 warm up.
What? I know. It's so that's so typical Zildjian. Yeah.
That just so pisses me off about drum education. Like, you're not worthy. If you can't play this at level 1, you'll never be a drummer. Like, what
dude.
is that?
And the video accompaniment, like their tempos, they're doing this at like 200. Like it's so ridiculous. And it's like, that's the level 1. And they're like, all right, we'll start at a pretty medium, small, like slow tempo. Let's start at 200. And it's just like, I'm like, I couldn't do this. It's just, it's crazy. Some of the level 2s though, aren't that far advanced than like what the level 1s are. It's just like maybe a little bit faster or a little bit, some of the marching charts though, I can't read. Like, I don't understand a lot of what they have, like their way of writing stuff. There's like this one exercise that's 8th notes and 16th notes, but their 16th notes are going over the bar, and I don't know why. And
drum notation is kind of like it's all over the place. Like depending on the style and depending on the individual person writing it, like they write it how they want to see it, as opposed to you know how you might have seen it before. Which I mean makes sense. That's how I write, but.
Yeah, it's really weird, and like there's something that I'm missing. Like maybe they're this is their way of making this like an odd grouping or something, but they're not doing it how you would normally do it. They're just writing it like it's really weird, man. And then they're like there's some stuff like that where I'm just like, I don't get that. I don't get what that is. They have like dynamic notation too. That's like, obviously you guys have done any drum corps stuff, you know what I'm talking about, but like different stuff and how you're hitting your pad and like all that. It's really crazy, but it's
dynamics.
Cool.
I'm playing as loud as I can.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I'll share that one because I just clipped that little part, and I'll share that in the chat. So,
what do you use to do your notation, Corey? Finale or something? Or
I either use MuseScore or
that's what I use
on iPad. I use iWriteMusic. And it's iWriteMusic is a little bit janky sometimes, but I've used it for so long that it's easy. But there's some things, they fixed a lot of things, but there's some things that you can't do. Like you couldn't write ghost notes before. You couldn't write, I don't think you could write flams in, but on MuseScore you can, of course. MuseScore I like because you can do anything. You can change the color of your staff line, and you can change the color of your notes, and so I've been able to write a lot of notation for students that's color coordinated with the sticks. That's really cool, but it's like learning a whole new program. Like there's just all of their shortcuts and stuff don't make sense to me. So that's really difficult. But yeah.
MuseScore is open source, so they're always adding new shit to it, which is both good and bad because you always have new things that you have to figure out about it and new opportunities.
I mean, there's days where I'm like, how do I do something so simple? Like I've spent like 30 minutes on like, how do I write triplets? Like, why is this not letting me write triplets?
Control 3.
Yeah.
Control 3.
Figure out it's just Control 3. But then you're like, okay, if you're writing like an 8th note triplet, you have to have like a quarter note rest or something, right? And then you have an 8th note rest. Like what you'd think you would have to put in a note on that 8th note rest, and it makes it a 16th note triplet.
Yeah, it like takes whatever value you have highlighted and turns that into whatever division of 3 it would be.
Right.
It's tricky. Yeah, there are little tiny things like that. Exactly.
Yeah, where you're just like, you have to start thinking like that. Like, oh, it's taking the space of that. Yeah, So, but it's cool.
All right, fellas, my phone is actually right about to die, so I'm going to cut before it dies on me. But I'll see you guys on Friday.
All right, man. Thank you, guys. Right, I'll see you on Friday.
Yeah, hey, Corey, could I do a Zoom meeting with you some point when you have time?
Sure.